What's the craziest thing that a client has done or that you found out about your client? I'm about to put y'all in my business. Hold on. This is not no client of mine no more, so don't nobody come into my comments talking about why you talking about your client. She ain't my client no more, and I don't like the bitch because the bitch was talking shit about me, but that's a whole nother story time. But hold on. This way back 2 years ago when I had first started doing nails, and this girl, she had hit me up on Facebook and was like, because this when I was still doing the $25. So she hit me up and she was like, you know, can she come get her nails done, blase blase. I gave her my address. I wasn't taking deposits back then, and she came to her appointment. So like I always tell y'all, I was always transparent that I was a beginner. So she get to her appointment, I let her know I just started doing nails, so you know, you can show me whatever reference pictures you got, but I'm not gonna guarantee you that's gonna come out like the picture because I'm a beginner. So I've ripped the bitch the attitude. This is why I'm a beginner. I'm trying to, you know, get content, whatever, so I can just get on my shit. So I'm just dealing with the shit. But the whole time I'm doing her nails, I keep smelling the sour ass smell. But come back for part 2. I got part 2 of my sour ass client. So I go tell this sour to wash her hands, and immediately this bitch start acting as stinky she smell. She gets up and goes to the restroom, and at the time I was working in my house, so my nail room is right across from my bathroom. She walks out my nail room, leaves the door open, and she goes into the bathroom and slams the motherfucking door, y'all. So Miss Sourpuss come back, and she sits her ass down. I finish her nails. Her nails actually came out looking just like the picture. They were beautiful, and she leaves after she paid her little $25. So the next day, I hear a motherfucking ding, ding, ding on my phone, and this bitch texting me, and y'all won't believe what this text me. This bitch text me. Hold on. Matter of fact, I'm gonna read it because I still got the message. Hold on. Hey, boo, bitch. First of all, anyway. Hey, boo, my nails look great, but it's one nail that doesn't look like the picture, so I feel like you should send me half of my money back. First of all, what's half of 25? Like, it was only $25 for something that took me 3.5 hours to do. Bitch, or have lost your motherfucking. So, of course, I text her back and I tell her no. And I didn't say no in a mean way. I actually gave her a very professional no. But basically, bitch, I said no. So, the next day, this sends me a picture of her motherfucking, why all fucking nails gone? So, she proceeds to text me again. Hold on, I'm about to read the message. 1 second. Hey, all the nails came off. Can you send me my money back? If you are a nail tech, you know we can tell when a nail falls off and when a nail is pulled off. And though I was a beginner, I was not stupid. So I could tell that she pulled fucking nails off. So in typical scary bitch fashion, this bitch on Facebook and start throwing little subliminal messages. Black nail techs are so unprofessional. I'll never go to you guys again. Girl, we don't give a fuck. Especially me, bitch. So if you're watching this, I hope you see me thriving. If you see these, you'll never be able to get these. And that's just on period. Fuck, bitch.
Get ready with me when I tell you about the time my bride hated her makeup. So this is when I pretty much was a baby makeup artist and I wanted to get into bridal. So I posted on a bunch of wedding Facebook pages offering free bridal trials. When she first reached out to me, I should have saw the red flags. She asked me a million questions about what products I carried in my kit, if they were high-end, drugstore, etc. Which I have no problem with, to be completely honest. I was carrying a lot of high-end brands for being a baby makeup artist. She then asked me if I would do her wedding for free. Her wedding was 3 hours away one way, 3 hours back from me, 7 girls, and it was pretty far out. I want to say like 1.5 to 2 years out, so I would have had a lot of weddings under my belt by that time. Side note, I still don't think I like this. I told her I wasn't really sure about my wedding prices just yet, but that I definitely could not do it for free. She kind of gave me a lot of attitude about this, but she ultimately scheduled a free bridal trial with me. Fast forward to her free bridal trial. So I asked her for reference pictures, and she showed me a lot of photos from Pinterest that are heavily edited, full glam, and said she wanted something like that natural. Which I understand, a lot of clients don't know that a lot of photos that you see, people are wearing a lot of makeup to show up on camera. So I explained that to her. So then we started going through my client photos. She then basically shitted on all of my work and everything like that. And I get it. I was very beginner. I was still pretty good for being pretty new. So I was basically like, let's just get started. Everything was going pretty well. We selected a nice eye. We selected, you know, a good lash, a lip, everything. Everything seemed to be going really well until I handed her the mirror. She started to pick through every single thing she didn't like and continued to say that she was way too dark, even though she was extremely dark on her body and very light on her face. And I matched to the body because everything is supposed to be cohesive, and I tried to explain that to her, but she was still not happy. I then started going through my kit, grabbing things, and swatching cream products, which if you know as a makeup artist, that is so unsanitary, and she contaminated a lot of my products. And I'm a people pleaser and a baby makeup artist at that time, so I was very nice to her and was trying to just make her happy, and nothing I was doing was making her happy. So then she had me take off everything and wanted me to restart. But I had clients coming over, so I told her we could just schedule a second trial. But I told her she'd have to pay for this trial. She was not happy. So we ended up scheduling a second trial, and I told her it'd be like $50, something super cheap, and she continued to ask for a discounted price, saying she used to be a model and that she shouldn't have to pay that price, etc. And then my dumb people pleaser self was like, yeah, we could just do $40, still extremely cheap. She comes over for her second trial and brings 2 people with her. The entire time I'm doing her makeup, her and her 2 friends were basically just like, no, she usually likes it like this, she doesn't like that, she doesn't like this, and we're touching my kit again. I was asking them to stop, and then it just went out of control. Go to part 2. Welcome to part 2 of when my bride hated her makeup. And then when I asked them to stop touching my stuff, they continued to say how unprofessional I was, and that I needed to carry different products, and that having drugstore products in my kit was just like cheap and weird. And I was like, I am just starting. Like, I did not know what to say, and I was just super uncomfortable. So she asked me to finish the makeup look, so we finished it, and she was actually a little bit more happy this time. So I was like, thank goodness, like, you know, I was happy, until her friends started to talk and just said that's not usually how she does it, and she looks better this way, etc., etc., etc. And then she left without paying me, even though we agreed on the cheap price of $40. She basically just didn't pay me, and she was like, I'll pay you later. So then she starts emailing me like, I don't really like the NARS foundations, even though I had 3 different types. And she was like, you should really have Kosas. I love Kosas. Can you get Kosas for your kit? I just told her I have products I love and trust, and I'm not adding something to my kit. So then she ghosted me and did not pay me. I was actually super upset about this. Like, I was like, maybe I'm not meant to be a makeup artist. Maybe I suck, you know, everything, because I just couldn't please this one person. So then I just didn't hear from her until the next year. She started saying how she wanted a new trial, and that she saw my recent work and how better I've gotten, and how she thought that she would love to have me for her wedding day. And you want to know what I did? I politely just told her that I was booked, and that unfortunately I couldn't work with her, and that I wished her luck in her search. And I say all this to say that you can't please everybody. Not every single client is for you, and you're not for every single client. My husband literally says it's the best way. You could be the perfect piece of apple pie, but if they want peach cobbler, then that's not your fault. And honestly, I don't love talking bad about clients or experiences or anything like that, but I just want new makeup artists to know that just because these incidents happen does not mean you are terrible, does not mean you suck, does not mean you should quit. And if I would have listened to that voice in my head that said I sucked and that I wasn't meant to do this, I'd still be working at my 9-to-5 in social work, making literally nothing. So don't let those bad experiences define you, because if I did, I wouldn't be where I am today, literally loving my career and my life.
No, let's be real. Clients are not always innocent. In the last couple of videos, we have done some dragging. We have talked about the bad hairstylist, we have talked about the nail techs, the makeup artists, the braiders, and baby, even the lash techs caught some strays. It's time to spill the tea on the worst clients ever. And trust me, they can be just as bad, if not worse. What's up, beautiful people? You don't know, it's your favorite island girl, Jody from the 876. Before we take a closer look into today's topic, guys, please remember to smash that like video for your girl. It's an easy and a free way to, of course, support my channel. If you're new, please subscribe, and you can also indicate same by dropping some palm trees down in the comment section so we can officially welcome you to the Islanders family. So today we're talking about the worst clients ever, and it's only right that we start with the makeup artists. If you have been watching, they have been catching all the heat on social media, guys, for the last month, from bad services to overstaying their welcomes at wedding to even canceling on a bride the night before her wedding to do a celebrity's makeup. Ready? Because some of these are just next level messy. And of course, you know, I can't wait to hear what you guys think. Without further ado, let's get into today's video.
Get ready with me while I tell you about the most disrespectful client I've ever had. And I never thought I'd be making another one of these videos again, because I don't really have nightmare clients apart from the other 2 story times I posted. But this happened a week ago and I'm still reeling about it. I'm also going to be showing you guys how I do my whole base using the one brush. It's dirty right now because I literally used it to carve around my eyebrows because it's pointed, fits in everywhere. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Reem. I'm a Birmingham-based makeup artist. And this client wanted me to travel. It was just over an hour each way to get to her booking. She originally inquired to book for herself, which is the bride, and 2 others, making it a group of 3. But for me to travel an hour each way, I do require a minimum of 4 people just to make it worth my time, because I do lose out on 2 hours of bookings that I could be doing while I stay in Brum. And this is the foundation application just with the brush. I haven't gone over it with a beauty blender or anything like that. And it's so smooth, doesn't leave any streaks, and gets right underneath your eyes. So I let her know that I only travel for 4 people or more. And she said, okay, that's fine. And we left it there. And I thought that was it. So a few days later, she called me back and she said, I found another person who'd like to get their makeup done, so can you travel to us now because we've got 4 people? I said that's fine. She paid the deposit for 4 people and I sent over the confirmation. So in the confirmation, I include the date, the time, the number of people booked for, the deposit paid, and how much is remaining to pay, as well as my policies, late fee, etc. And I also say at the end to confirm that you agree with all the information, just so that I know we're all on the same page. And she sent her confirmation saying she agrees with everything and it was fine. So it came to the day, and let me tell you, it was a mess from the start. So I got there for 7 a.m, meaning I left my house at 6, and they knew that they had to be ready. I do charge a late fee, but on wedding days, I tend to be more lenient just because I know it's really stressful. So I tend to kind of just not scrap it completely. If they do take liberties, then I will let them know, like, you need to hurry up and this is how much it is for the late fee. But if it's okay, I just tend to just let it be because I know how stressful these things can get. So I get there at 7 a.m, and let me tell you, they have just gotten out of bed, still in their pajamas, haven't washed their faces, anything like that. And I'm already there and set up. So this is part 2 of getting ready with me while I tell you about the most disrespectful client I've ever had. So because they were literally just getting out of bed, I had to wait half an hour just to even get started on the first person's makeup. So like I said, I'm not as strict with lateness on wedding days just because I know how it can get. But half an hour to start on the first person, I said, okay, I let it go. I did the first bridesmaid, second bridesmaid, and the bride was still getting her hair done. And I didn't see another person, but normally they don't all stay in one place. The last person or however many people tend to come later on. So it didn't bother me like too much. And they said to me, you're just going to have to wait for the bride to get her hair done. And I said, okay. And I was waiting. And I waited an hour when they told me 10 minutes. So half an hour when I first came, and then an hour for the bride. So a total of hour and a half just waiting. And I could have done 2 people in that time. So I waited, and to get people to get a move on, you do just kind of have to tell them that you've got other people after them, and I didn't have any other people that day. But that's the only way you'll get people to respect your time, is if they know that other people, or if they think that other people are waiting for you. So I just said, like, can we please get started on the bride? Got started on her. Her makeup was fine. She loved it. And then they go, that's it. I said, huh? What do you mean that's it? You were booked to do 4 people. And just like that, my base is done using the one brush, and I've linked it as well. So they said, yeah, the other person decided they couldn't make it because they had other things to do and guests, etc. And they decided not to tell me because they knew that I had to have a minimum of 4 people at their booking for me to travel an hour each way. Now, bear in mind, because I had to wait an hour and a half without doing any clients, they were booked in from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. It was now 11:30, so I overstayed their booking by half an hour just because I had to wait around. And then they tried paying me for 3 people, no late fee or anything included. And I let them know I've stayed an extra half an hour over your appointment time. I've completely waived the late fee for you because I saw they were stressed. The bride was also pregnant, so I didn't want to stress her out even more. And the bridesmaid got lippy with me, and she was really, really rude actually. And as most of you know from my other story times, I don't really stick up for myself because I always think of my reputation, until I realized my reputation doesn't matter with these sorts of clients because I don't want their recommendations anyway. Because if you're a friend of one of these clients, I don't want to book you because I don't want any more problems. I'm so sorry. Head to part. So this is part 3 of getting ready with me while I tell you about the most disrespectful clients I've ever had. So we left off with the bridesmaid getting extremely rude to me and basically speaking for the bride, saying that they're not going to pay for the 4th person that didn't do their makeup, even though I let them know when they were booking that I had to have a minimum of 4 people at their booking as I'd be traveling an hour each way. And I hope you guys who know me from my other story times are proud of me because I actually stuck up for myself this time. I told them that I'd waived the late fee, even though I had to wait an hour and a half, well, a total of an hour and a half. And I'd overstayed their booking by half an hour. And I still had to get paid for this other person because I travelled all this way when I could have done so many more bookings had I just stayed in Birmingham. Just letting my setting spray marinate. So the bride at this point was actually really nice and I was just communicating with her. I kindly let the bridesmaid know this agreement was between me and the bride, so I'll be discussing it with her. You've paid your part, so now it is between me and her, so if you could just stay out of it. And then the groom walked in and he basically just asked what the problem was, and the bride, well, not the bride actually, the bridesmaid still tried to tell him. And I let him know I did send it in a confirmation, and I also send a booking reminder 24 hours before the booking, letting them know what time I'll be there and how much is left, etc. And he asked to see the confirmation. I showed it to him where it had all the information and he just agreed. He said she let you guys know multiple times and you chose not to let her know because you knew that she couldn't come just for 3 people, so you do have to pay her the amount. And he checked the time and he goes, she's actually been here for a lot longer than you guys were booked in for. So I really appreciated that. That was nice. But did they want to listen? No. So I'm going to talk through this really quick because I don't want it to go into another part. The groom was the only really reasonable one there, so he asked me if I could travel to the 4th person that was originally booked. I originally said no because I do agree to just go to one location. He explained that it was only an 8-minute drive away and it was on the route back to Birmingham. So I said that's fine. I packed up my stuff. Bear in mind they'd only paid for 3 people at this time. So they asked me to go to her and that she'd be paying the rest. And I don't know why I'm still so naive. I went, I got to the road, didn't know which door number it was, and the bride wasn't answering the phone anymore. Stayed there for about 20 minutes to half an hour, and they probably thought, you know what, she's just not going to be bothered to come collect the rest of her money. No. This time I was sticking up for myself. So I went back to where they were staying and asked to get paid for the rest of my money. But they weren't opening the door. They completely locked me out. I called 12 times, no answer. Part 4. So this is the final part of getting ready with me while I tell you guys about the most disrespectful client I've ever had. So they basically tried to send me to another house thinking that I wouldn't come back to get my full payment, which I normally wouldn't, but this time I just had enough. I had enough of people trying to take the mick. So I went back and they'd completely locked me out, weren't answering the phone. I called 12 times and I don't know what made them call me back. So they rang me back. And now, remember when I said the bride was actually being really nice at first? Now she'd completely switched, probably because her plan didn't work. But now she was just like, I don't care, I'm not paying you, blah, 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 blah. Bear in mind, it's now about 12 o'clock, so about an hour after their appointment was meant to end. She's basically telling me that I'm stressing her out and it's her wedding day, and she said the exact words that I was wasting her time. Like I didn't wait an hour and a half for them and then all this faff that they put me through. And I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. So they finally let me into the building. So it was in like a tower. They let me into the building, but then wouldn't open the door. And she was screaming at me through the door, and I just wasn't replying. I was on the phone and I was just ignoring her because I wasn't going to take all that verbal abuse from her. I was just completely ignoring her. I just let her know, like, all you need to do is pay me the rest of my money and I'll be on my way. Like, I'm not causing any problems for you. You're making it so much worse than it needs to be. And a little while later, she paid me, but you won't believe how she paid me. She put the money through the letterbox and just dropped it on the floor and then just went. So I thought I was being really nice by waiving the late fee and being understanding that these things happen at weddings, and basically just trying to accommodate the whole group. And they basically threw it back in my face times 10. So in my policy, I do state that I like to get paid at the beginning of the booking. I've never really enforced it because, like I said, I normally have amazing clients. But now, after this, I am definitely getting paid at the beginning of each and every booking because I cannot keep doing this.
Let's talk about how this client refused to pay the full price that they agreed to for the services. That's, to me, just straight up disrespectful and manipulative. Imagine booking a service, wasting the service provider's time and energy, and they try to skip out and not paying the bill. Tis, be for real right now. In my personal opinion, I believe she never intended on having 4 persons in the first place, but she only said that to mislead the makeup artist from the start. This type of behavior is not just unprofessional, but it's just downright disrespectful. I mean, the makeup artist deserves respect for her time and of course her talent, just like any other profession. So happy that this makeup artist stood her ground and demanded what they initially agreed to, as rude as how she handled that money. Now, let's address the topic of kids in a salon and this whole no children policy that some of these places enforce. Tell me what you think. Do you believe it is fair for salons to implement a no children policy, or should they make accommodations for clients with kids? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. In my opinion, we all adore kids. I mean, they're the sweetest thing ever. But to me, the salon is meant for a space for relaxation and a professional service. And having kids around, especially when they don't stay still, it can be very disruptive to both the stylist as well as to other clients. This next clip will reiterate my point. While some salons should be welcoming, having a no children policy to me is essential for maintaining a professional atmosphere. Let's take a look.
Okay, do you guys want a client horror story real quick? I'm Shelby. I'm a salon owner and a hairstylist of 8 years, and I've got some horror stories for you. So I had this client that had come to me 3 or 4 times, and the last time she came in, she brought both of her kids. This was a highlight appointment, so needless to say, I was not living my best life those 3 hours. Fast forward to the day we're referring to. I have her down for a highlight again, and she's like 10 minutes late, still not here. Where is she? 15 minutes late, still not here. And next thing I know, she comes rolling in. This is where things got a little hairy though. She comes rolling in, pushing her double stroller, okay? Now I have kids. I understand, I really do. Homegirl, as a hairstylist, this is a salon. We're super busy. I've got so many stylists just running back and forth with their clients. I'm double, triple booked. I've got so many people in my chair. I can't be walking around a double stroller in the middle of my super busy salon. Not to mention, if the baby starts crying, the mom has to get up. Or shears, I've got products that are being sprayed all over. Your baby doesn't need to be breathing that in. I've got color. I'm messy. My color be flying everywhere. I can't be getting color on your baby. And again, I've got 4 kids. I understand. But I also understand they ain't gonna be good for 3 hours, sweet cheeks. Okay, anyways, here's what I said. So are we doing highlights today? And she's like, yeah. I said, okay. Do you have someone coming to pick up the babies? No. I'm like, okay. Well, I'm sorry, I can do a gloss today, but I'm not gonna be able to do a highlight service. Unfortunately, I know the kids aren't gonna be able to sit here for 3 hours, but a gloss, I can get you in and out within an hour and a half. Does that work? I'm gonna believe what happened next. I'm running out of time, so go check out my second video. Part 2 of Salon Tea. If you missed the first video, make sure you check out my profile to see why my client is losing her shit. So after I told her I could only do a gloss, if she could not get a highlight, she was not getting her hair done. So I was like, hey, I respect that. You know what? I'm not gonna charge you your late fee. She still wasn't happy. So she got up and left. But don't worry, it doesn't stop there. So I go back to my client that I was working on until she comes barreling around that corner, stroller in full force.
All right, I'm gonna show you. We just have this huge thing right here. She comes, boom, she's so mad, and she goes, show me! Keep in mind, I'm over here working, and I'm like, what?
I really need you to see something here though. Where I was working, where she was. I need you to keep in mind, this is a 6,000 square foot salon. When she yelled my name, I think the whole salon just stopped. Not gonna lie, I definitely thought I was gonna get my ass beat that day. Thankfully, I got her to calm down and leave. But then she went and left me a nasty review. Needless to say, we've plastered our no children policy all over the salon, and up until now, we haven't had an issue since.
Last week, I had to fire a client. Yep, you heard me right. I had to fire one of my clients. And you might be asking, why would I do that if she's coming to get a service and she's paying me and even tipping me super good? Well, let me tell you how this went. She was a new client to me wanting a fresh set of volume lashes. She had some damage done on her lashes from a previous set, but we were going to keep it light and fluffy so we didn't further damage her lashes. We finished and she was thrilled with the results, paying me and gave me a great tip. I always guarantee my sets for 72 hours, saying that if you have any issues at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. I hadn't heard from her, so I assumed all was well until I get a video text 6 days after our appointment. She was crying and pacing the floor, absolutely distraught that she had lost 2 lashes. No, you heard me right, just 2 lashes on the outer corners of her lashes. Now, she didn't have many lashes to begin with because of the damage, so any loss would have been super noticeable. I talked her through it and offered to fix them for free, even though it was past the 72-hour policy that I give. I squeezed her into my super busy schedule and offered to fix them for free, and this was the beginning of all the drama. Watch part 2 for what happens. So the day came where I could squeeze her in and fix her lashes, and guess what? She did not show up. 5 minutes passed and then 10, and I only slotted her in for 15 minutes, so time was super limited. She called and said the gas pump lady was taking too long. Then she called later and said traffic was super bad. Meanwhile, I have like 0 time to fill her complimentary fill. She called and texted me with several more excuses and then finally arrived 20 minutes after she was supposed to be there. Me, obviously not super impressed. I filled literally 2 lashes and off she went. Skipped to 2 weeks later and she had her fill appointment, and surprise, surprise, 5 minutes before my phone buzzes and she left a message saying she won't be coming in on time. Again, she then started spamming my phone with excuses once more. My fill appointments are only an hour and a half, so I have some wiggle room. But she was 5 minutes, then 10 minutes late, and 30 minutes constantly texting me that she's just around the corner. And then 45 minutes, finally an hour past her appointment, she decided to walk through the door with the biggest smile on her face saying, "I'm here." I filled her lashes for the last 30 minutes and proceeded to tell her that if she cannot show up on time to her appointment, I could not have her as a client anymore. I was willing to give her one more chance, and she ended up canceling her next appointment the day before, again with excuses that made no difference to me. I said I could not have her back as a client, and all I got was a response was, "Okay, bye." That is my story of how and why I fired my client.
I lost a client of 6 years last week. Let's talk about it. This client had to cancel her appointment the day of, and I texted her just letting her know that due to the fact that she canceled the day of and there was no way for me to fill the appointment, I would have to charge her a cancellation fee. I want to just make something abundantly clear before I continue with this video. This is not a debate. We're not here to debate whether or not you believe in cancellation fees, or I'm a hairdresser and I don't charge them, or I do charge them, or I charge this percentage or that percentage, or I charge, I don't care. That's not what we're here to talk about. Truly, I don't care what you do with your business. I'm going to do what I want to do. You do what you want to do. Beauty of being self-employed, right? Cool. If you are somebody who charges a cancellation fee, okay, this is what I want to tell you. I lost a client that I had been doing for 6 years every 8 weeks, like clockwork, over a 50% cancellation fee. I lost her over less than $200, okay? If you ever find yourself in this position where you lose a client over this, do not change your policy. Stand your ground and do what you need to do for the livelihood of yourself and your business. Because what this tells me is that that client just wasn't that happy to begin with. I refuse to believe that if she was thrilled with her hair, thrilled with my company, loved being my client, that something like that would actually make me lose her. I'm not buying it. And after the way that she reacted, I was so turned off that even if she wanted to be my client again, it will never happen. I have far too much respect for myself and my business to ever allow someone in my chair who acted the way that she acted. But you can't change your policy because you lose a client over it. Because the bottom line is, it can't possibly just be about that. Do you see what I mean? There are other things pushing that person out of your schedule. There are other things that have happened in the past that have made them kind of creep towards it. And then this was the straw that broke the camel's back. So am I sad to lose a client? Of course. Like, this is a business. We want as many clients as we can possibly get. But do I feel like it's a loss? No. And you know, the insecurities in my brain were like, were you wrong? Was that wrong? Should you have not done that? Should you have just let it slide? And then, you know, the boss comes in and goes, no, fuck that. Fuck that. You have to stand your ground. No one's going to do it for you. And guess what? My client today had to cancel last minute and I texted her the policy, and guess what? She gladly Venmo'd me and apologized for the inconvenience. So
let's debate about this whole cancellation fee. I do understand that fees are a necessary part of the whole service industry, and it helps to protect the time and the income of the service providers. Yes, I do get that. And I also do understand that when clients cancel last minute or even do a no-show altogether, it can significantly affect your business because you could have booked to somebody else, you know, during that time. So lost the time, lost the money. A cancellation fee not only compensates for the loss of time, but it also encourages, in my opinion, the client to commit to their appointment. But you know, sometimes life happens. My whole drawback though with this whole cancellation fee is the 50%. I believe, me, Jody, believe that a bit exorbitant. And if there's any service providers here watching, please let me know. Chime in down in the comment section. How do you go about the percentage? Let me know how you determine that percentage and what factors are taken into consideration when setting these fees. In the next clip, the stylist shared an incident that happened at a salon. Her client yelled at her for 2 long hours because of a hair color mishap. This is a prime example of how emotions can escalate in the beauty industry. While it's understandable to get upset when a service does not meet your expectation, especially when you pay good money, but directing that anger to the stylist, especially in front of customer, is neither fair nor professional. Let's keep watching.
I just spent the last 2 hours of my day getting yelled at by a client because I ruined her hair. This is what it looked like when she left the first time. And this is what it looked like today. And that earned me 2 hours of being yelled at in front of another client while I washed her hair, retoned her, blow dried her, and curled her. She just went in on how I made her hair brown, how she's not blonde anymore. She spent the last 2 hours of the service just yelling at me. 2 hours of my day getting yelled at by a client.
Let's normalize fighting your clients. I have a few stories of me being a little too forgiving to clients, and let me share with you one that I think would really help you. This client in particular, we just had a bit of a falling out. There were some things that went on, and it was essentially like it didn't feel good for either of us. I've been in business for a long time. I never really take it personal when people leave or people go on to a different service provider, whatever. But this client, with this particular falling out, there were some things that were said that I just could not let go. I would ruminate on it for literal months. And it got to the point where I was repelling clients. I didn't want to see any new clients. My business started stagnating because I was just so afraid of trusting another person to come into my realm and not be like this. And I was putting so much of the responsibility on me, right? Because I'm the service provider. I should be the one that's figuring it out. Obviously, I'm the one in the wrong. But then I went to my coach with this, and she said to me something that was the most freeing thing I've ever heard. She said, sometimes people are just crazy. And that helped me because I was holding so much of the responsibility. I wasn't putting any responsibility on this client. I was hurting myself for months, punishing myself for months over something that wasn't even really my responsibility to hold. And in these instances, this is not about you. This is about her. This is about whatever she's got going on, and this has nothing to do with you. Just because you work with clients does not mean that you need to take abuse from clients. This is very different. You are still a human. You are still a person. And if somebody is pushing up against you and is hurting you in this way, you have every right to stand up for yourself. You have every right to end that service and blacklist this person. The last thing I want to share here is that there's something about the concept of significance. I've seen a lot of people where they will berate service workers simply because they want to feel powerful or significant. And they want to feel like a significant person in their life, that they have changed the trajectory of your life. Meaning that if you quit hair, that is because of this person. They are going to see that as pretty damn significant. They wanted that, right? Same with my client. She wanted me to not have more clients. She wanted that to be the end of my business. Now, I get wanting to quit. Do it for you though, you know? Like, I remember wanting to quit after that client too. But then I got to help so many other people after her. You do not have to endure abuse.
Story time on my worst bride ever. Hi, I'm Julie. I'm a South Florida makeup artist, if you didn't know, and I've been doing makeup for over 5 years now, and I've had my fair share of brides. I do want to mention that literally 99% of the time I have the best parties and bridal parties ever, but this one... So it all started when we were texting about the information for the wedding, and I already had a weird vibe because she was being super dry, and usually brides are super excited. She also messaged me 2 months before her wedding, and that is super last minute, but I was available, so I took it. Then about a week before the wedding, instead of 9 girls that she said that she only had 7. And I was like, okay, I'm still gonna block my entire day for that because that's a lot of glam. I think you can see where this is going. So I asked her for the address because she had never sent it to me, and this was the day before. Again, super dry. The day finally comes and I was bringing my assistant because I had a lot of glam and not so much time. She decided to let me know the day before that we only had 4 hours for 7 people. So I show up the day of, and I thought the directions were kind of self-explanatory because all she did was send me the address. So I get there and I wasn't sure where the bridal suite or anything was, so I called her. I'm like, good morning, how are you? She's like, good. Someone's almost there. And I was like, okay, maybe she's just tired. It's early in the morning. I unpack my car and I get inside and I'm literally just standing there because I don't know where anything is and there's no employees there. And then somebody shows up. It happened to be the bride, but I didn't know it was her. And when I tell you, she was literally just standing there. And I was like, hi, how are you? Do you know where the bridal suite is? She's like, I'm waiting for the key. I was like, okay. And I was ready to complain to the establishment because I thought she worked there. So then she follows us to the bridal suite and then just sits down in the chair. When I tell you, the room was silent. You could hear a pin drop. And I was like, okay. So I was like, oh, are you the bridesmaid? Are you the sister? She's like, I'm the bride. So my assistant and I look at each other and we're like, we're in for it today. So as we're setting up, she is literally just staring at us, and it was so silent, it was so awkward. So I was like, oh, can you put some music on? To my assistant, go to part 2. Story time on the worst bride ever. This is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, check it out. But I'm Julie, and I'm a South Florida makeup artist, and 99% of the time I have a great experience, but this one was interesting. So I have my assistant put on music because it was so awkward. Because we were trying to make small talk and she was just short answering us the entire time. Mind you, I'm used to having a million girls in a room. They're like, you want some champagne? You want this? You want that? No, she was just like this. So anyways, I start to glam her, even though I like to do the bride towards the end. She didn't listen to any of my instructions, but oh well. Again, trying to make small talk. Nothing's there. It's literally me, my assistant, and her, and that's it. I was getting close to finishing her makeup and I was like, okay, the next girl needs to come. We're on a time crunch. Like, I'm doing 7 girls and I only have 4 hours. And then she goes, oh, don't worry. You're only doing 5 people. When I tell you, I definitely learned from this mistake. I didn't have a contract then, so yeah. And I was like, oh, I was expecting 7 people. That's why I brought my assistant. I still have to pay her. And, you know, I'm expecting a certain amount of money here. Like, this is my job. And I was like, all right, whatever. I guess even if I had 5 people, it would take most of the day anyways. So the next person comes, it's fine. There's a little bit of a language barrier, which is fine. But they didn't even come with pictures, which made it super complicated because they were super picky at the same time. It's okay to be picky because I'm picky, but if you're picky and there's a language barrier, I need some kind of photo. So I end up doing the makeup. Everyone's kind of fine. They're just a little bit picky. And then I sit down and I'm waiting for the second to last person, as I thought. So as I'm waiting like 15 minutes and I'm like, hey, we're on a time crunch. Where's the next person? I'm not going to be able to finish on time. And she goes, oh, you only have 1 person, so we're only doing 4 people today. The other girl decided to get her makeup done at the hair salon instead. When I tell you, I tried not to flip a switch because I literally just wanted to get out of there, but then the one person that didn't want their makeup done was asking me to do winged liner and eyelashes, and no, unless you're going to pay me. This is my job, J-O-B. The girl had a problem with paying, but anyways, the mom of the bride comes, again, language barrier, very picky, has a mirror in front of her face the entire time, is so picky, and criticizing everything in another language. And then I finished, and then I ran out of there and blocked all their numbers.
So the girlies are requesting the tea and story times for why I've fired clients in the past, and I've honestly never made videos like this thus far because I don't want to come across as messy or a mean girl or anything like that, but if y'all are asking for it, I'm gonna give it to you. So as I stated in that post, the reason I fire clients is if they don't respect me, my business, my policies, my time, my prices, my space, etc. I don't play that shit, and I set very clear boundaries. So, client case number 1 goes like this. She was referred by a friend. They had both just recently moved to my city. She had an appointment booked, and a couple days prior, blew up my phone basically saying that she couldn't make it. She got a new job, and the time conflicts with her job, so she needed to get a squeeze-in slot for after 6 o'clock at some point that week. She called me multiple times, left a voicemail stating her issues, and then sent me a text pretty much just stating everything she said in the voicemail. Like, girl, you didn't have to do all that. Once I was able to get to your message and respond to it, I would have. She told me that if the squeeze-in fee wasn't too much, that she would love for me to book her in as a squeeze-in at some point after hours that week. I gave her a day that I could do so and told her the squeeze-in fee was $30. I told her she could send me any inspo pics for her nails and toes so that I could give her a total so she was prepared when she was coming in. She sent me pictures of French with junk nails and stuff like that for her nails and for her toes. So that, including the squeeze-in fee, was pushing around $200 for her total. She loved the message, and then I believe it was the next day that she came in. So when she got there, I asked her what she wanted. She told me she just wanted plain nude for both. So basically she couldn't afford what she originally wanted, which is fine. I wanted to go home anyways. And obviously doing nude sets was going to be much faster than what she originally wanted. However, she did come in with a mask on. She told me that she was just getting over a cold. but throughout her entire appointment, she was coughing. She stepped out about 4 to 5 times to go blow her nose, which made the appointment take forever and clearly show that you're still very much sick. She also slipped up and said that she had to leave work early the day prior because she was sick. And why girls come in when they're sick to their appointments, regardless if you're wearing a mask or not, is beyond me. I feel like that's disrespectful, and me personally, I would cancel. So all of that was red flag number 1. However, I just wanted to get her in and out. And my clients typically get comfortable with me pretty quick and start telling me their life stories, which I'm all for. I'm all ears, babes. But the information she was telling me was definitely TMI and low-key made me uncomfortable throughout our appointment, but I was just doing what I had to do to get her out. So boom, fast forward to her next appointment she had booked for the next month. Same thing happened. She had to reschedule because she was going on a last-minute trip and proceeded to blow my phone up again about rescheduling. She sent me videos saying that she really needed a fill, she needs to get squeezed in, texted me and called me multiple times. I'm a busy girl. If you know, you know. Like I said, if you can't make your current appointment, I will do my best to fit you in, but there is no guarantees because my schedule books out pretty freaking quick. I was able to get her in. She came, she got her fill. This time she wanted more designs. She got like some 3D flowers, French, some gems, stuff like that. She ended up getting some of her nails with glossy top coat and some of them with matte top coat. She loved them by the end of our appointment, but a few days later had messaged me and asked me if I could fit her in to change the matte top coat to a glossy top coat. Once again, my schedule is very busy. I told her the soonest date and time that I could get her in, and she said that that conflicts with her work schedule and she would have to do it at another time. I didn't have another time to offer her, so I told her that and was unable to get her in. She proceeded to text me multiple more times trying to get in. Like, girl, if something comes open, I will let you know, I promise. So at this point, I'm already very irritated with how her first couple of appointments have went. She's had to reschedule both times, both last minute. I've had to fit her in my schedule where it's uncomfortable for me to do so, especially because she's nails and toes, so these appointments are 3 hours long. But anywho, she has a 3rd appointment booked and coming up, and it's time for me to release my schedule for the following month. And my policy is that when I drop my schedule for the first hour, my regulars get to book priority booking, and then at the next hour, new clients can start to book. You're considered a regular or a VIP client after your 3rd appointment that you've attended consecutively. So 9 a.m. I open my books and she booked an appointment. However, at this point, she's only had 2 appointments and her 3rd appointment is the following week. So I canceled the appointment she booked and I texted her letting her know that she's not yet considered a regular. She'll be able to book priority the following month, but for this month, she'll have to wait till 10 a.m. to book her appointment. Now, once I say something, it is what it is. You're not going to try and argue with me because I said what I said. And it was done respectfully. She then proceeded to say that her 3rd appointment is coming up and that she should be able to book regular because she has her next appointment coming next week. She told me that I should know that her schedule is very busy and that she really needs the Saturday appointment that she booked. She also tried to rebook in that time period using another name, which I obviously canceled as well. And for me, her sense of entitlement, acting as if she's the only client on this planet and like the rest of my clients don't have busy schedules or don't also need Saturdays or don't also need an appointment after they get off their 9-to-5 job is crazy. I've had regulars for years that would never act this entitled. I told her that my policy is that way for a reason, and she had also rescheduled and had to cancel her last 2 appointments, so I wasn't sure what she was going to do with this third appointment, which is why I wait until you've attended all 3 of your appointments to consider you a regular. That way I know you're going to show up and respect my time, respect my policies, and be a good standing client. So at this point, after all of the drama that she had caused from disrespecting my space by coming in sick, constantly having to reschedule her appointments, blowing up my phone when I'm not answering, really just doing the most and acting entitled to my time and to my services, I ended up just texting her. I basically told her that this has been my policy and that all of my clients have crazy schedules, not just her. I told her since the beginning she's made it difficult for me to service her and that we don't align, so I will no longer be servicing her. I'll include a screenshot of the message because I know some girls want to know exactly what I say when I fire clients, but then I blocked her and left it as that. One thing about it, at this point in my business, I don't need the clients need me, and I say that in the most humble way, but you have to get to the point where you won't tolerate entitlement or disrespect because this is your business and you can choose how to run it and choose what clients you service. Not all money is good money, and I stand on that always.
I just unlocked a crazy story from my salon days. Working in the salon, there's obviously a lot of women who come in to get their makeup done, and they're always trying to poach you for somebody. So I've got a client that I'm doing, and we start conversating. She starts asking about me and like really trying to get to know me. And then she tells me that she has a brother-in-law who is single and that like literally we'd be perfect together. So I tell her, you know, like, sorry, I have a boyfriend and like I'm just not interested. She tells me all these things, how we'd be great sister-in-laws together. Her mother-in-law is fabulous. And I tell her like, look, I'm just not interested. Like I was dating my boyfriend. She goes home and tells her mother-in-law about me and how like I'm such a great girl, I'm so cute, like whatever, all this stuff for her son. And then we get a phone call. The mother-in-law wants to book an appointment with me. She comes to get her makeup done because she has an event, but she's also like heavily vetting me out. And I'm over here like, Miss Ma'am, you are not here for your 30-plus-year-old son, who isn't ugly, by the way. She sits down to get her makeup done and then she asks me if I can make coffee for her. I want you guys to keep in mind, this isn't like I'm pouring just pre-made coffee like American coffee. This is like I have to like actually make it on the stove myself. It's a whole thing culturally. So now I have to stop my work and I have to offer it to like multiple people only because she wants to see how I make coffee and how good I am at being submissive. It's a whole strategy, guys. Okay, anyway, so I start doing her makeup and she is insanely picky, by the way. And she starts trying to talk to me about my personal life, like who I'm dating and all this stuff. And I just kindly tell her like, oh, I have a boyfriend. We are long distance. And she's like, oh, you're long distance? Well, he's not here. You should give my son a chance. And I'm like, no, I'm loyal. I'm loyal to my man. She leaves really disappointed that she can't snatch me up. But wait, I find out during that same week, she also went to go to poach somebody else that I know, like in my inner circle. I found out from my mom. And they actually started dating for like a little bit. A year later, it's her son's wedding. She found a cutesy little submissive girl for her. And guess who's doing the makeup for the wedding? So I go to the house for the wedding and I'm obviously professional and I'm just like, I hope she doesn't make it awkward. I go to her house, I see her son that she's like vetting for. I see the future wife and they're like really cute. But the whole time she's just dropping things about their sex life. I don't even want to go there. And then, oh, how could I forget? While I'm doing her makeup, she's telling me about how her son was in love with this other girl, but she just didn't approve, she didn't want it. So she literally did anything in her will to break them up, and she did. She books me for 2 weeks out for another event that they have, and I go to their house. 2 weeks later, I get there and she insists that I have coffee with her son, and the new wife. Let me know if you want to know what happened. Hello, I didn't expect so many people to be so invested. But here's part 2. Recap. We have a client who wants me to date her son, potentially possibly marry. I decline. I have a boyfriend. I end up doing the makeup for her son's wedding, who is getting married to another girl. So she books me out 2 weeks later, post-wedding, for another event they have. You guys know, when she came to approach me to ask me to date her son, she made me make her coffee. So clearly, coffee is a big deal in my culture. Now, on the wedding day, she insisted that I have coffee with her, but I'm like, ma'am, it's the wedding. Like, you gotta go, I gotta go. I have clients, you know? She was really upset about this. So when I walked in 2 weeks later for the makeup, the first thing she said is, you have to have coffee with us today. Now, I don't drink coffee. I don't drink American coffee, but if you know, like, our coffee is very strong, so I hate it. And I'm like, no, it's okay. I don't want to be an inconvenience. And she's like, no, if you don't have coffee with us, I will be so upset. So we finish and we go to have coffee. She calls a new wife over and she says, can you please make us all coffee? Now, in the kitchen is her husband, her son, herself, and the daughter-in-law, the new wife. It's so awkward. What am I supposed to talk about with these people? It's like 8 in the morning.
So to make small talk, I'm like, how was the wedding, you know? And before anyone can answer, she's like, oh, it was a dream. It was everything that I wanted. I'm looking at the new wife like, was this what she wanted though? I'm like, oh, you know, like, I'm so happy that you guys had fun. She's like, no, if the wedding didn't go exactly how I wanted, I would have thrown a fit. I'm like, I believe you, girl. And then I'm like, so how was the honeymoon? And she goes, oh, I'm sure it was fine. I don't even know why they went to a honeymoon. It's not like they didn't have sex before. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get out of here. But you know, it takes forever to drink that stupid coffee. And then, as if things couldn't get worse and more awkward, she turns to her husband and she says, you know how I found Mary? I'm like, oh no. Funny story, I actually approached her because I really wanted her to date our son. I'm like, she went there. And I'm like, you know, drinking this shit coffee that I don't even like. And it's so awkward. You could like feel the awkward tension because like, what are you supposed to say? And the new wife like looks at me, she smiles. She's like very sweet, very modest. And she starts complimenting me. I think you're so beautiful. You're so smart. You are so kind. Like just on and on and on. Not one nice thing about the new wife. Oh my god, that's when I just downed my coffee and I was like, oh my god, thank you guys so much. I really like have to go to my other clients. Thank you so much for having me. Bye. If you guys want more stories, I have a ton.
So now we can definitely add a Cupid, we can definitely add a matchmaking on the list of things that clients do. Anyhow guys, this is where we'll wrap up today's whole discussion about the worst clients ever. And of course, you know, I'm going to give you my 2 cents and my whole takeaway on all of this. One, it is important to remember that everyone has a breaking point, but professionalism should always prevail. So put at the top, it for the other top, front and center. And of course, we can see how challenging some clients can make the job for these service providers. However, we also have to acknowledge that mutual respect and understanding can definitely go a long way. So it's a reminder for both the clients and the service providers to approach their interaction with, of course, kindness and patience. Wow, I want a little love, love, and keeping up with being kind and patient. Thank you so much for sticking around with me until the end of another video, guys. If you have enjoyed the video and you haven't liked it yet, go ahead and give your girl a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and hit the notification bell so you never miss when I upload another relatable story time video. And if you enjoy or want to see more videos like these, you can go ahead and click that up next video right here, so on your screen. And as per usual, guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Jody and I aspire to inspire. Until next time, guys, what good?